Good afternoon and welcome to today's webinar, The Business Value of Automated Spend Analytics. My name is Paul Cook, VP of Global Sales at Roslin, and I'll be joined by Quinn, our Chief Technical Officer. Just before we start, what we're going to do today is introduce to you Rapid Cloud Analytics platform, which features a unique automatic spend analytics solution currently running on an SAP extraction. For those of you that are an SAP user, you will understand that extracting any data from SAP is probably the hardest thing you'd ever likely to face. We have built, and we will show you today, an automated extraction process that will make this very easy for you to understand. So today's business environment is difficult. We're in recession, or we come out of recession. There are talks that we'll be back into downturn and turmoil. People want a lot more for a lot less from their employees, and business has to stay the same. So companies already cut as far as they can in terms of people, in terms of equipment, and now they need to look at their business in a new light. They need to understand from their data where they can derive value in terms of cost reduction or opportunity to streamline and reduce their operations. So if we looked at this, the Hackett Group's 2016 priorities, you'll see at the very top of this list, the CPOs that were surveyed said that reduce or avoid purchase cost was one of the most major areas to look at. This is true of every organization, and the very reason why things like spend analytics are so important. Cutting costs is always going to be a priority for procurement, and companies need to do much more with less. So the Spend Analytics platform, it remains the #1 enabler for cost reduction. This slide, also from the Hackett Group, shows that business leaders remain focused on what they are spending money on. As we all know, not every spend analytics solution is the same. There is a vast difference between spend reporting and spend analytics, as we'll show you on our webinar today. So what is spend analytics? It's the process of integrating, cleansing, enriching, and analyzing spend data with the purpose of decreasing procurement costs, improving efficiency, and monitoring compliance. It is really important to unlock the value that lies within the ever-increasing volumes of data becoming available. It empowers organizations to collaborate, share, and work together. Here at Roslin, we see more and more people having what is termed as data lakes, and we are calling data swamps, because every day they're getting more and more toxic and more full, and it's becoming impossible to understand data. Another reason why the Spend Analytics platform is so vitally important to you. So the question, to automate or not to automate? Let's be honest, everyone wants automation, but they're not certain how to get it. So Roslin's definition of automated spend analytics is the automated process of extracting, transforming, and loading data so it's ready for analytics. Automated spend analytics is not about replacing human thinking. Human thinking will always be required on top of automation. Automated spend analytics improves the productivity of all employees and allows the procurement teams to analyze more data and much faster than using traditional manual processes. So why should you automate your spend analytics? Given the high percentage of manually conducted analysis, it's not surprising that actual benefits of spend analytics software fall short of expectations. The research that we at Roslin here conducted in 2014 reveals the cost of manual spend analytics. 57% of CPOs need 5 employees to conduct spend analytics. Why do you think this is the case? Well, we think it's because technology hasn't delivered on its promise of automation, and vendors and both service firms and software providers have been twisting that definition of automated spend analytics for a bit too long. And the Hackett poll we showed earlier really sort of backs this up. And it was interesting to see from that study that only 19% of companies have a highly automated spend analytics process today. And it comes as no surprise that the spend analytics market the demand is growing and the market is growing as people find it harder and harder to find opportunities and ways to save money. We feel the industry has misled procurement. What has been automated has not been truly automated. It's costly and it must end. And it will end today with what we at Roslin Analytics have developed for everyone, the first truly automated spend analytics solution. So let's look at the traditional manual method. The traditional journey is a long one with many perceived failure points, an opportunity for data degradation. And what's missing is one seamless flow or process. And here we feel probably the most obvious way for data aggregation is to use things like Excel, where after 5 or 6 versions, the data is so degraded, so shaped and transformed, if there's no relevance to where it started. And we feel it really should be straight from source. So we want to remove the dangerous potential failure points by direct extraction from SAP to data analytics with the Rapid platform. So what do we feel these benefits are? We feel there will be speed, accuracy, and larger amounts of data ready for instant analysis. What are the benefits of automated spend analytics? Everyone recognizes the benefits of automation, but here are the 3 major points in the recent Hackett survey. A huge percentage reduction in time required to complete data analytics, a percentage increase in total spend being analyzed, and a percentage increase in spend reporting accuracy. This is a vast improvement and a very big competitive advantage for companies that are using automated spend analytics over those companies that are taking a manual approach. So now we're going to show you via Quinn the Rapid one-click spend analytics platform. Here we're going to show you how data can be extracted from SAP, and we will do this live for you. And then we'll show you what can be done with an analytics platform once that data has been extracted. So I'm just going to hand you to Quinn. Please, at any time, please ask questions via the chat session within the webinar. We'll be delighted to answer them if we can.
Yeah, can everyone see my screen? Yeah, so the journey starts when a Roslin administrator or a partner administrator create a vanilla client, an empty client for a client. So I log in as a Roslin admin here, but the journey is very similar from a Roslin appointed partner. So when I go to the client list, at the top here, there is a button called Add Client. So the button has been here for a while, but what we added newly is a drop-down button here. If you click on it, there is Add One-Click Client. Click on it. There is a minimal form for you to fill in. So firstly, we ask you to specify a client name. So for this webinar, we're going to call it Demo 03. And to start with, we need 2 email addresses of the people in the organization, in the client. So the first one is going to be the IT user. And the IT user is going to be the person who is going to set up and manage the data extraction process. So you put in and we need another business user as well. And the business user is going to be the user who will manage the reports and the spends that will come out of SAP. And I hit the Save Client button. So the process will take a few seconds, so you will see the new client created in a few seconds here. So once the client has been created, we'll redirect you to the list of users on that client. So you will see on the page here, there are 2 users on the list. The 2 users that you have just been created. So you see that's the IT user and the business user. So at this point here, you can either log out of the system and log in as the IT user, or as a shortcut, you can click on Edit and log in as the IT user here. So on the home page of the IT user, there are 4 apps that you can see that view out of the box. So there's a help app here. When you click on it, there will be documentations and guides on how to start using Rapid. But for the purpose of the demo here, we're going to go straight into Rapid one-click analytics here. So you will notice when you get here is we haven't got the agent installed yet. So you can see on the screen, Rapid Extract Studio is not installed. So we're going to download the agents and install it. So I click download, and you will see there's a small application. There's a 14 megabyte downloaded onto the machine. So I'm going to go through the installation process. It will take a few seconds, and you'll see different standard security screens popping up on the screen. That's from Windows. Okay. Please bear with me during the process. The voice may be disabled for a few seconds. Then you can click close here. You will notice on the taskbar there is a RA icon, the new icon. That is the Rapid Extract Studio agent that we have just installed. So the next thing that we need to do here is we need to activate the agent to associate the agent with the user that is on the screen here. So I'm going to click on the agent and say connect to Rapid. So that will take a few seconds to pop up on the screen. In the agent name text box, you can see that the machine of the name has been populated for you, but it's free for you to put in anything here. The Rapid login, you will need to put in the Rapid login of the IT user that you're using to log into Rapid. So you notice on the top right here is vanilla demo 03 IT. So I'm going to put the username here. And I will have to specify the password again. I'm going to say login. Oops, vanilla. Try different. Yep. And it's recognize the password. So you see the process is successful now. You can click OK. So at the minute here, we have an agent running on my machine here, connecting to Rapid system. So the next step is we're going to have to put in a SAP credentials, so the agent can extract data from SAP. I have with me here a test SAP system that we have from the office. So at this point here, you will be expected to contact the IT department and get the SAP credentials that you can use to get the data out of the system. That is probably the only technical piece that you have to do during the process. So the name here, you put in test SAP system. It can be anything. A host name is a host name of the SAP or SAP company system. Password that my administrator gave me. So I can click test. Yeah, so the credentials that my SAP admin gave me is correct. Say OK, and I can click add. Yeah. So you see on the screen, we specify that the process of discovering the SAP system will take a few, maybe less than a minute. And we'll show you the progress on the screen. You will see that we are trying to extract a few simple data from SAP just to make sure that the SAP system is properly configured.
So just while this is running, one question that's come into the system already is said that why should we enter the name of SAP into credentials if the system's already generated it? That's a security feature to make sure that you are human and you are the right person doing that.
I will expect the process to complete any seconds now. So at this point here, we offer you the chance to go directly open another browser, but I have a browser open in the background here, so I will say no for now. So if I go back to Rapid here, and I go to Extract Studio, you can see under the jobs here, there is already one job configured for me. And if you click on the agent list, you will see that's the name of the agent that we have just installed. So if I go back to jobs here, I can click on the play button to extract the sample jobs that we created in the background just to make sure that we can connect to and extract data from SAP successfully. So if I click run, you will see the SAP icon on the taskbar popping up in a minute. Yeah. So the command has been sent to the agent, and now we can preview the data that we just extracted. So the full job that we created is a simple job, created to extract some test data from SAP. So you can see here it's a table called T001 from SAP. The next thing you need to do is to approve the agent for it to upload the data from SAP to Rapid from now on. And you click yes here, and on the screen should go away. Come back to Rapid. When you do that and you go back to extractions, you will see that one extraction job has been completed successfully, which is the one that you approved earlier. At this point here, we can go and do Spend Analytics directly from SAP. We go back to Rapid One-Click Analytics. You click on here, you notice that there is a difference this time. The system knows that you have SAP system installed, and you can click on Spend Analytics. So there are only two pieces of information that you need to specify here. We have put in all default for you. So the first parameter is how many months of data that you would like to extract. So that is going backward from today. So in this case here, let's say we want 60 months, which is 5 years worth of data. And how often you want the system to upload Delta data onto Rapid, which is the default is daily. But for this instance here, most people probably monthly is enough. And the only thing here is you have to click save and run. You will see that there is an acknowledgement on the screen saying, yes, we are going away and we are going to extract data from SAP now. So once the data has been extracted from SAP, it will be uploaded to Rapid, and at that point it will go through an automated data transformation process, and the reports will be populated on the on Rapid for you and ready for the business user to look at.
So just while that's running, we had some more questions come in. One question was, what if SAP is not used? Currently, Rapid One-Click is only available for SAP, but very shortly will be available for Oracle and other ERP solutions. But we do have, of course, our traditional Rapid Enterprise solution that has an ODC capability and our Extract Studio that enables us to take data from any system into the Rapid platform. So what we're showing you today is our one-click, but we do have our enterprise solutions as well. Another question that came in was, oh, sorry, we're back to being extracted, so we'll come back to those questions.
So you can see on the screen here, there's an acknowledgement that the extraction has been started and the data is being downloaded from SAP for a minute. And once data is ready, we'll email the users specified here to let them know that the data is ready in Rapid for you to look at. I'm going to leave the stage and give the control back to my colleague, Paul.
Thank you, Quinn. So Quinn has just shown you the business side, or sorry, the IT side of the Rapid One-Click. I'm now going to show you the analytics side. So we've extracted our data. We can arrive at a dashboard. This is a Power BI dashboard. So here we can see a quick view of our geography. You'll notice that there's 0% categorization. That's because we have just taken our raw data and loaded that data into the system. So we've done nothing with it yet, so we haven't categorized the data in any way. But we can see that in that short while, we loaded £1.5 billion worth of data from 277,000 suppliers with 44,000 invoices. So a lot of data came across from SAP in one format very quickly. So here we can see we actually got 2 years worth of data, so we could look at this by year, we could look at it by 2009, and we could look at it by month. And each time we look at this, our visual change to reflect our selections. So now if I select another month, you'll see that we're starting to go side by side with 3 months and the data's starting to change shape. I'll undo it all. We could look at just a general overview of where we are. So our spend by business units, our top 10 suppliers. You'll see that the top 10 categories, because we haven't categorized the data, that's going to be blank. We could look at it by our suppliers. So here we see our top 10 suppliers, our top 10 supplier by invoice, our top 10 supplier under 100,000, which is a very interesting statistic to see. And we can also see the coverage of our suppliers. So very interactive dashboards, a lot of information available. We can export these dashboards. We can bookmark them. We can do lots of nice things with them. We've looked at geography. Look at company. another interesting, the spend banding by business unit is a very interesting statistic to look at. We could look at our PO coverage versus average payment days. Look at our categories and say we haven't categorized anything yet, so our category is going to be empty. But as we start categorizing this data, this will grow. And then we start looking at our supplier detail. So here we have particular suppliers, and we could maybe just look at one supplier and see the data related to one supplier. So we have one invoice, £131. What we might want to do, we might want to actually look at our data and do something with it. So we might want to maybe take our data. So we've now got our data in a data mining format, and we might want to tag this data. So here I could look at this and say, actually, it needs to go to a different place in my UNSPSC categorization tree, and I can click that and move it. Or I might want to change the focus of my report and say, actually, I don't want to look at business unit at all. I want to look at chart of accounts. So I'm now going to see my data in a different view, in a different format. I can look at related info. Now I'm in here. I can say, well, actually, I want to look at it by invoice header. Select any item. I want to look at it by, say, invoice header. And I might want to maybe look at it cost center. Oh, there's no data available. We didn't extract anything around there. But we can see that the data becomes very pliable, very malleable, easy for us to use, easy for us to mine, easy for us to port against. As I start making changes to my data, I'll be able to see that in my tag and audit trail. Hopefully we've got nothing in there right now. Good. As we start changing our data, we can see the history of our changes. I can look at things by advanced group by. So here I can start changing the focus of what I'm seeing, so I can pick up some options. And I can start saying, actually, I want to see my data looking a bit like this. So I'm now going to get a different view. This will take a while because I've been quite robust in what I've asked it to do. So here I've now got my information back, and I can see it by local currency. I'm seeing it by its invoice voucher number, by its chart of accounts description, by its chart of account code. Again, I can look at this and say, I need to change the tag, so I can move it. I won't right now, but I can move it around in the data. I could search the data if I needed to search through. I said before, we can load queries, we can save the queries, we can start adding filters. The whole system is as you would find in our usual Rapid Enterprise, just in a smarter, faster, one-click version. So that's a rough overview of the data mining side, the data analytics side. What we'd really like to do is for people that are actually interested in how this works is set up individual demonstrations so we can answer any business queries that you might have directly related to yourself. But really what we'd like to do now is pick up the questions, because a lot of questions have come in, and we can start answering those questions for you as best we can. If some of those questions we don't think we can answer today, then we will be delighted to contact you offline and answer those questions individually. Always a good one. How much does this solution cost? A typical question, I guess, from a group of purchasing guys. The answer is not very much. I mean, we've designed this to be light, to be user-friendly, and to have the ability for everybody to use. So the use of Rapid One-Click will be from £3,000 per year. So it's a very low-cost entry point. Very easy for you to start this in, very quick way of testing Rapid, a quick way of testing your data analytics. There's sorts of more questions coming in there now. So how is the categorization automated for the first time? That's a question we need to answer offline because it does depend on your own business structure, but we will answer that one for you offline. We'll come back to you. What other questions do we have in here? Does Roslin Analytics use you in SPSC taxonomy? Yes, we do. We support you in SPSC taxonomy, and as you saw on the demo just now, this is automatically going to you in SPSC. Is your solution just a faster integration? Sorry, just a faster visualization. I'm so sorry, my eyesight's not as good as it should be. No, this solution provides spend visibility, data management, the ability to tag and change your data, to socially interact with your data in a live environment and write back to your database in real time. So it's not just a visualization tool. That really is the difference I said earlier between BI and analytics. BI is really visualization. Analytics is the ability to socially interact with the data and make real changes to the data and improve the data the more you use it. Let's see if we can find some more questions here. What is the main difference of Roslin Spend Analytics and SAP BI Spend Analytics? Well, I think as we've just said, BI analytics is really just visualization, whereas the rapid business analytics is really the ability to interact with the data, to tag, to add things like diversification, to enrich the data with maybe Dun & Bradstreet or Reuters or Equifax data, to enrich the data and to cleanse the data in some respects by constantly having this social interaction. You can write back to your database and constantly improve it. It's also worth noting that about 60% of our current user base are SAP customers. So clearly that there is a need for something beyond the typical SAP BI tools. Let's take another question here. Who are the primary users? So primary users for this particular setup are your internal IT, your business users, so your categorization managers, your data analysts, or it may even be a partner that wishes to take this and use it for work they're doing with their own customers. But it is a business tool. There's a question here. I'm not clear how it speeds and cleanses data faster and more effectively. Okay, I guess the first thing is by running our extraction tool and taking the data from SAP into Rapid, the first thing it's going to do is going to dedupe the data. So the first thing we'll have are duplicates removed on its journey from point A to point B. The second thing is once you have the data in one format in one place, then you have the ability to cleanse the data, the ability to write back to the data without the need for specialists, for consultants. Particularly, those of you that are SAP users will know that you can't just change the data. It's a big job. It's an expensive job. Well, here you can, in the cloud environment, you can change the data. You can enrich the data. You can tag the data. You can move the data around your taxonomy. So there is a big difference and much faster because you can do this live. You don't need to wait for consultants to arrive. Why? So there's another question coming here. Why use this when I have multiple data sources? Okay, so in the first instance, this particular product will only be for SAP. But why not use it to validate your existing spend analytics tool or existing spend analytics process? Look at the capabilities, maybe use this as a small proof of concept to see how cloud-based data analytics can really change and shape your business in a very low-cost environment that will see whether this is a workable format for you. So there's a question just being typed as I'm looking at this. So that the question just been coming, but we will need to answer that offline. I think what we'd like to do now is to thank you very much for your time today. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and we would really like to hear from you if you'd like to find out more about Roslyn, more about Rapid One-Click and how it can add value to your business. So we look forward to hearing from you, and we thank you very much for your time.